Hello friends, welcome to our channel, The Pain and Pride of Modern Homeowner Spirit. We are thrilled to have you join us on this journey of self-empowerment. Here, we delve into the art of cultivating inner strength and your permanent resolve, critical qualities for navigating the challenges of modern life. Please listen to Joshua Valentine and Joanne Ashdeen, helping to guide you in fostering a deeper and more intimate connection with your home. So, let's embark on this transformative journey together, unlocking the potential within ourselves and our homes. I welcome you to the modern homeowner community.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've got a really interesting topic to dig into today. You guys have been sending us a ton of stuff about homeownership and, well, what it actually means to own a home these days.
Yeah, it's a pretty timely subject, right? I mean, with everything going on in the housing market and the economy, I think a lot of folks are starting to question some of those traditional assumptions about homeownership. You know, the whole idea of the American dream and all that.
Right, exactly. And some of the articles and comments you guys sent in, they're kind of making me wonder, like, do we really own our homes anymore? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Big time. One article even went as far as saying our grandparents wouldn't even recognize what homeownership looks like today. Like, we've got all the responsibility of ownership legally, but it feels like we're losing more and more of the freedoms that used to come with owning a home.
Okay, so let's break this down a little bit for everyone listening. For this deep dive, we've got articles, comments, you name it, and we're trying to understand how homeownership has changed, what's different now compared to like back in the day. And I guess most importantly, what all this means for all of us out there who are dealing with this new reality of homeownership.
All right, sounds good. And I think a good place to start would be to, go back to basics. Like, what did it actually mean to own a home, traditionally? One source I was looking at, it basically said that historically the concept of ownership was pretty simple, pretty straightforward. It was your property, your land, your house, and you pretty much had free reign over what you could do with it.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, that's kind of how I've always thought about it too. Like, you work hard, you buy a house, it's yours. But some of these sources are painting a very different picture of what it's actually like today, being a homeowner.
Yeah, for sure. And things have changed a lot. It's not that simple anymore. There are so many rules and regulations, and it often feels like the list of things you can't do with your own property just keeps getting longer and longer.
You're not kidding. I mean, you look at things like zoning laws, ordinances, and don't even get me started on HOAs. It's almost like, we're just renting from the city or our HOA board or something.
Yeah. Sometimes it can feel that way. And it's crazy. These sources give some pretty specific examples. Like, some homeowners can't even run a business from their own home.
Wait, really?
Yeah. And it's not just any business. There are specific types you're limited from. Plus, things like how many people can live in your house, or like, what kind of vehicles you can park on your property. It can get super specific.
Wow. I had no idea.
Yeah, and then there's all the stuff about, composting, like whether you can compost or not, and making big changes to your house, renovations and stuff. And of course, there's those HOAs, which can like control everything down to the color you can paint your front door.
Seriously?
I know, right? And the point one article made that really stuck with me was, where's the line? Where did these rules go from like protecting the neighborhood to just taking away the benefits of actually owning the place?
Right. It's like you're paying the mortgage, you're responsible for everything, but you don't really have the freedom to actually like enjoy it the way you want to. So is it really yours? Like is that true ownership?
Well, that's the $1 million question, isn't it? It seems like the whole idea of ownership, it's kind of shifting. It's less about individual control and more about shared governance, I guess. Like, you're sharing the ownership with the city and the HOA, and everyone has a say.
That's a great point. And there's this one story from the comments, I think you saw this too. It's about this person who wanted to run a small farm.
Yeah.
And they were denied permission, even though the town like officially supports local agriculture.
Yeah, that one was wild. It's like the town says one thing, but their regulations actually do the opposite.
It's a total disconnect. And it really makes you think about, what happened to the economic benefits of owning a home? The sources mentioned that, back in the day, owning a home actually gave you a lot of financial advantages.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, people could farm their land, grow their own food or sell it. Some folks even had like mineral rights or timber rights, things like that. And of course, they could run businesses from their property or rent out rooms, stuff like that. They actually made money from their homes.
It's funny, the articles even mentioned that in the 60s and 70s, renting out rooms was a super common way for homeowners to supplement their income.
Yeah, a side hustle. But these days, it's pretty rare, especially in, your typical suburban neighborhood. The economic benefits of owning a home, they've kind of disappeared. Now, for most people, it's just a place to live.
Yeah. And it's not just that you can't make money from it, it's that it costs so much to maintain.
Yeah.
It's it's an ongoing expense. It's more of a liability than an asset, financially speaking.
Exactly. And the worst part is, those property use restrictions we talked about, they actually play a big role in this shift. They're literally preventing people from using their homes to generate income.
One of the sources actually quoted a financial expert who said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it was something like, an asset puts money in your pocket, a liability takes money out. And a lot of times our homes, they're more liability than asset, unfortunately.
It's true. And one of the commenters made a pretty thought-provoking point, connecting this lack of economic usefulness to foreclosure crises.
Oh, interesting. What was the connection?
Well, they were saying that when your home is basically a money pit, just draining your finances, it makes it a lot harder to get through tough times. So if something unexpected happens and you lose your job or something, you're more likely to end up in foreclosure.
That makes a lot of sense, especially when you consider all the costs that come with homeownership, like property taxes. Those can be brutal.
Oh, don't even get me started on property tax.
I know, right? It's not like they're a new thing. But the sources were pointing out that they've skyrocketed in recent decades. I mean, in some places, they're even higher than the actual mortgage payments.
Yeah, it's insane. And the thing is, with your mortgage, at least you're building equity. You're paying down the loan. But property taxes, that money's just gone. It doesn't increase the value of your property. It just goes straight to the government.
Right. One of the sources actually asked, are you really the owner if you're constantly shelling out huge sums of money for the privilege of owning the property? It's a good question. It's almost like you're renting from the government.
Yeah, almost. But it's even worse because with renting, your landlord's supposed to take care of things, right? With property taxes, you're paying for the privilege of taking care of everything yourself.
Seriously. And speaking of feeling trapped, remember that commenter who described their home as a hostage to local property taxes?
Oh, yeah, that was a good one. And they had a point. Unlike other assets you can move around, you can't just pick up your house and move it to a place with lower taxes. You're stuck.
Stuck is right. And it doesn't just affect current homeowners. Think about anyone trying to buy a house. High property taxes are going to make a big difference in their decision.
You're exactly right. It's all connected. Another thing that can really limit your control of your home is the possibility of liens.
Oh, yeah. Liens, those can be a real nightmare.
For sure. And, the sources mentioned that it's not that liens are a new thing, but it's like our finances are so much more interconnected now, which makes homeowners way more vulnerable to them.
So it's easier to get slapped with a lien.
It can be. Say you get sued for something, or you owe back taxes, or even if a contractor does work on your house and you don't pay them, they can all put a lien on your property.
So basically, you can get hit with a lien, even if the issue has nothing to do with your house.
That's right. And from my experience in the mortgage industry, let me tell you, these liens can be a huge headache. They can make it almost impossible to sell your house.
Right, because nobody wants to buy a property with lien attached to it. So even if you own the house, you can't actually sell it. It's like you don't really have full control over your own asset.
Yep, exactly. And that kind of leads into this whole concept of the commoditization of the American home, which a few of the sources talked about.
Commoditization. Okay, so what exactly does that mean?
Well, it's basically the idea that these days people are buying homes more for the potential financial gain than for, the actual home itself. They're hoping the price will go up so they can sell it for a profit. And they're also thinking about the tax benefits that come with owning a home, which, by the way, those can change depending on who's in office and what the tax laws are.
So we're not really buying homes to live in them. We're buying them as investments.
In a lot of cases, yeah. It's more about the numbers than about creating a home. One source even compared owning a home these days to owning stock. You own a piece of paper, but you don't really have much control over what happens to it.
Interesting. And like you said, it all depends on the market, which, can be super unpredictable.
Exactly. One source even used the term tradable commodity to describe the modern house.
tradable commodity.
Yeah, like it's just something you buy and sell for profit. It's not the family homestead that gets passed down through generations anymore.
And if I remember correctly, one source even called price appreciation the dirty little secret of the housing market. Like it's the engine that drives the whole thing.
Right. It's like we're all just kind of crossing our fingers and hoping that prices will keep going up, which, let's be honest, is not a sustainable model.
Definitely not. I mean, what happens if prices go down? We saw what happened back in 2008. People lost their homes because they couldn't afford their mortgages anymore.
Exactly. And that brings up another interesting point from the comments. Someone was saying that almost all of the supposed benefits of owning a home these days, they all depend on rising prices. Like, if prices stop going up, there's really no benefit to owning a home. Well, except for having a place to live, I guess.
Right. And even then, with all the restrictions and expenses, it's not always clear if it's even worth it. I mean, you're basically at the mercy of the market.
Totally. And then there's another factor that can really throw a wrench in things: eminent domain.
Oh, right. Eminent domain. That's where the government can take your property, even if you don't want to sell it.
Yep. And the scary part is it's not always for, like, essential public use anymore.
Wait, what do you mean?
Well, traditionally, eminent domain was used for things like roads and schools, things that clearly benefited the public. But now, there are cases where it's being used for commercial development, just to boost the local economy.
So the government can just take your house and give it to a private developer?
Well, it's not quite that simple. They have to pay you just compensation.
Yeah.
But even then, it might not be enough to cover what you've lost, emotionally or financially.
Right. Like, what if your family has lived in that house for generations? It's more than just a piece of property.
Exactly. And it really makes you question, how much control we actually have over our own homes. It's almost like our ownership is conditional, like the government can just step in and take it away if they decide it's in their best interest.
It's a pretty scary thought.
Yeah.
And it seems like some people are so disillusioned with the whole system that they're, like, completely opting out. I'm thinking of that one commenter who decided to stop owning anything altogether. No car, no house, nothing.
Oh, right. I remember that one. That's pretty extreme. But I can kind of see where they're coming from. I mean, if you own things, you have to pay taxes on them, insure them, and then there's always that risk of, the government taking it from you.
Right, or even just like lawsuits and stuff. And that commenter mentioned they were planning to move to South America, I think.
Yeah, like they're just done with the whole system. They want to start over somewhere else.
It's a pretty radical move, but it kind of goes back to that idea from Atlas Shrugged that one commenter mentioned.
Oh, yeah, about the productive class disappearing, right?
Exactly. Like, what if people just get fed up with all the regulations and taxes and decide to, drop out of the system? It's not just about moving abroad either. It's people choosing to rent instead of buy or prioritize financial freedom over accumulating stuff. It's a whole shift in mindset.
Yeah. And I think a big part of that shift is the realization that, real estate isn't as liquid as it used to be.
Okay, so what does liquid mean in this context?
Well, it basically means how easy it is to sell something. So, like, cash is super liquid. You can spend it anywhere, anytime. But with real estate, especially these days, it can take months or even years to sell your house.
Right. Especially with all the paperwork and inspections and legal stuff. It's not like you can just snap your fingers and turn your house into cash.
Exactly. And all those regulations and costs we talked about, they just add to the problem. They make it even harder to sell your house quickly.
So it's not really a liquid asset anymore.
Not as much as it used to be. And that's a big deal, especially for people who are relying on their home equity for, retirement or whatever.
Right. It's like their wealth is trapped in this illiquid asset.
Exactly. And remember how we were talking about property taxes before? One commenter made an interesting observation. They said that when property values were going up, people didn't seem to mind the rising taxes as much.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. It's like as long as the value of your house is going up, you're still coming out ahead.
Right. But then when the market crashed and property values plummeted, but property taxes stayed high, that's when people really started to get angry. It's like they were okay with paying more when their investment was doing well, but when the value went down, they felt cheated.
Right. It's like, hey, if I'm not making money off this, why am I still paying so much in taxes?
Exactly. Which, it all circles back to this question of ownership. Like, if we have to pay all these taxes and fees and we don't really have control over how we use our property, and it's not even that easy to sell, then, like, what does it really mean to own a home anymore?
Right. It's a great question. And it's not just the financial stuff. It's the feeling that, our rights as homeowners are being eroded. Like we're constantly being told what we can and can't do with our own property.
Yeah, exactly. And one source even pointed out that when you do finally sell your house, you're basically last in line to get paid.
Wait, really?
Yeah, like the real estate agents get their cut, the mortgage lenders get their cut, and if there are any outstanding liens or anything, those get paid off first. The homeowner is the last one to see any of the money.
Wow, that's crazy. It's almost like you're not even really the owner. You're just managing the property for everyone else.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, so let's do a quick recap of everything we talked about today. We talked about how the freedom to use your property is being limited by all these regulations and HOAs. And we talked about how the traditional economic benefits of owning a home have kind of disappeared for the average person.
Right. And then there's the issue of rising property taxes, which are eating up more and more of people's income. Plus, there's the increased risk of liens, which can make it difficult to sell your house. And of course, there's the whole problem of the housing market being driven by price appreciation, which is super unstable and unsustainable.
Right. So I guess the big question is, has this whole trade-off been worth it? Like we've given up a lot of the traditional benefits of homeownership in exchange for the potential of making money when we sell our homes. But is that really a fair deal?
Well, that's for each individual to decide. One of the authors we looked at today left us with a really interesting question. What are your thoughts? Am I onto something here, or am I just blowing smoke?
Yeah. And I think that's a question we should all be asking ourselves. Like, what do we really want out of homeownership? And is the current system actually delivering on those expectations?
Right. And I encourage you to dig deeper. Look into the specific rules and regulations in your own community. Look at the property taxes. Look at the trends in the housing market. And then decide for yourself, what does it really mean to own a home in today's world?
That's a great point. It's all about being informed and making conscious choices. And with that, we're going to wrap up today's deep dive. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you next time.
I want to take a moment to connect with you. If you are finding value in this content and want to empower your intimate connection with your home, please take a second to like this video. Your support helps me create more free content like this. Also, I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Drop a comment below with any questions or insights you have. Let's create a community where we can learn and grow together. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Our dream is to reach 1,000 subscribers, and with your support, we can reach this milestone together. By subscribing, you'll stay updated on all our latest content, helping you cultivate inner strength and deeper connections in every aspect of your home ownership. Thank you for being part of this journey.